Hi, I'm Mindy Bonini, and this is a presentation on presentations. So let's go ahead and start talking about what a presentation is. So in my mind, as you can see on the screen, it's about the relationship between the audience and the presenter. And it's about you giving this information that you're passionate about or that you're really enthusiastic about out to a wider audience to sort of get them jazzed about the same things you're jazzed about, right? So let's think a little bit about how we can make your presentation that you're going to be giving for your assignment that much better. So the first thing I want you to do is pause this video, and I want you to just jot on a piece of paper 5 things that you don't like when you watch presentations. So I bet you said you don't like it when people read straight off the slide. You don't like it when there's too many words on the slide. You don't probably like it when a slide stays up too long. So just I want you to keep that list next to you as we go through this presentation. And then I want you to keep that list next to you when you're making your presentation, because even though these are the 5 things you don't like, I guarantee that if you're not thinking about it, probably 60 to 70% of the people in your class right now will make the very mistakes that they put on that piece of paper. So your goal, if nothing else, is to avoid the 5 things that you wrote down on your own piece of paper. All right, so let's start by talking about why. Why are you doing this presentation? You need to keep that in mind because the whole thing is going to revolve around that. And at the end of the presentation, before you deliver it, you need to step back and look at it critically and think, have I achieved my why? Now, it's not only why are you giving this presentation, but why should your audience care? Because part of the presentation is the presenting part, right? And so your audience should care because of blah. In this case, you guys should care about this presentation because you're about to give your own. And so I'm hoping that I can deliver a presentation to you guys here that is going to make you better at the end. All right. So you really want in your opening slides, the first few slides of your presentation or the beginning of your presentation is to talk about why you're doing this. So in this case, it's to help you when you're doing your presentations to your groups, or by your groups, I guess. Why your audience should care? Well, you should care because you have to give a presentation, and I'm hoping that I'm going to give you information that you can use. And where am I going to take you? I'm going to take you through this to discuss sort of the 3 key areas of a presentation. All right? So this is one of the first ones. The first key area is why. Why are you doing it? Why should they care? Why should anybody care? You need to make sure that your why is kept at the forefront of your head the whole time you're building this presentation. All right? You need to reevaluate at the end to make sure that your why really came through. All right, when you're looking at presentations, you also want to, like the act of giving a presentation is you want to be relatable, and you want your presentation to be relatable, and if you can, add just a little bit of interactivity. And that can be really anything. It doesn't have to be polls or something like that. It can be just literally asking a well thought out question of the audience, or having the audience think for a little bit and apply the information that you're giving them. It doesn't have to be anything mind-blowing. Like I said, there doesn't have to be clickers or a poll everywhere where they have to use their phones. Really, just even getting them all to raise their hands if they've done something. Just getting them to engage a little bit with you and engage a little bit with your presentation. And again, making that topic that you have relatable. So using words that everyone can understand, not dumbing it down, but just sort of making it relatable to your audience. Again, going back to that why. So let's talk about a little bit more about you, the presenter. So in addition to that relatability, what makes a good presenter? And I think that it's somebody that shows interest in their subject and shows your personality a little bit. So many times, especially in group presentation, everybody sort of lines up side by side, and then I'll talk and look at the screen, and I'll stand there and stare at the audience, and I'll, do my thing, and then I'll step back, and then the next person will start talking. Don't You've gone through this, and you're now presenting your findings, and hopefully you found it interesting. Hopefully that what you did had some meaning to you, and you want to get that across, right? You want to show interest in that subject. And again, don't be afraid to show your personality. Smile a little bit. It won't kill anyone if you smile. And if you're funny, tell a little joke. It doesn't have to be like a knock knock joke or anything. It can just be a little pun, a play on words, anything. Just something, again, that's going to draw that audience in, and just make the presentation more engaging for them. Because at the end of the day, the presentation is really about your audience. It's what they're going to learn from you, not necessarily what you have learned. Move. Please move. I'm begging you to move. How many of you guys on your pieces of paper, your 1 through 5 notes, wrote that you hate when someone just stands next to the screen and doesn't do anything, doesn't move, doesn't engage in any way? Move around the audience. Walk to one side of the classroom and talk to people. They're more apt to ask you questions if you're making eye contact with them and you're on their side of the room. So change sides of the room. Don't stay right in the middle. Don't stay right next to the screen. Everybody sees the screen. They'll see the screen no matter where you are in the room. So travel the room. Move around a little bit. Maybe not move around quite as much as the lady in this slide, but you get the gist. So part 3 is, so part 1 was your why, part 2 is you as the presenter, and part 3 is sort of, what is the purpose of the presentation itself, what you're seeing on the screen? I'm calling it PowerPoint here because that's what most people consider it, but it's really so much more than PowerPoint. So I personally think that it's to help you, the guest speaker or the presentation speaker, I guess, to stay organized. This is a way that prior to you coming up and giving your presentation, you can think through and come up with a logical way that it's going to make sense for you to deliver this, and then you put it in your PowerPoint, and that's going to help keep you on track, right? The other thing that it does is it illustrates your points, and that's why, because you're looking for illustration, not verbatim. That's why you really want to keep your slides minimalistic. Images, key points, keywords, not a ton of text. Nobody wants to see a paragraph on a slide. Nobody definitely wants to see bullet points that stretch across the entire screen and fill the entire slide, right? Keep your font big. Keep your thoughts on the slides succinct. And it's just supposed to be an illustration of what it is that you're talking about. Now, building this sort of a presentation when there is no verbal overlay, that's a very different beast. But you're giving this as a live presentation, so you're who they're here to see. They're not here to see the PowerPoint presentation on the screen, right? They're here to see you and hear what you have to say. So just use this sort of as a guideline. The presentation should really just be a guideline. All right. Don't wing it. Please don't wing it. The whole point of that organization is for you to have a plan. You can't be organized with a plan, and it's really important, if this is a group presentation, that you sit down and plan this thing out before you start building your PowerPoint. The reason is you just want that cohesiveness. And if you don't, if every person in the group builds their own slide, then the presentation as a whole is not going to flow. So you need to get together as a group. You need to think about what it is that you're trying to relay. Again, going back to that why. And then sort of coming up with a plan and literally draw it out, just like this picture shows. Sort of draw it out what's going to happen on each one. Use Post-it notes, and then that way you can rearrange those Post-it notes really easily. And then after that, then you can sort of divide up if you want and have everybody make different slides. But you kind of have to have that plan so that everybody knows the direction that you're going in, right? And so that's really key to a good presentation, especially a good group presentation. Also in this plan, you're going to determine how you're going to talk about this and who's going to speak and when. Don't wait till the presentation's built before you decide who's going to speak. Again, the most interesting presentations are when you play off of each other, not necessarily where I speak, then I don't say another word, and then John speaks, and then he doesn't say another word. It should be like a little more cohesive, a little more like the group did it, and the group is explaining what they've done, right? So sort of the keys here are to plan and use those PowerPoints just really to hold key words, not paragraphs, not there to say everything that needs to be said if you were not there. All right. So that's sort of the gist of the 3 key points to keep in mind when you're making a presentation. You want to focus on your why. I cannot say that enough. Obviously, I've chosen to say it 100 million times already in this presentation, but keep that why at the forefront of your mind the entire time. Really focus on you, the presenter. You're who they're there to see. The PowerPoint presentation, that's fluff. That's in the background. You're the key piece to this, all right? So spend some quality time thinking about how you're delivering the information. Again, planning with part 3 is that presentation itself, the PowerPoint, and the planning that's involved. Really think about how you guys are going to deliver this as a group if this is a group presentation. That is why, because I think it is a group presentation, that I'm recommending that you use Google Presentations and not PowerPoint. So if you've not used Google Presentations before, it is almost identical to PowerPoint. It is through your Google Apps for Education. It is collaborative so that all of you guys can work on the same presentation at the same time. Whereas with the PowerPoint, I'll work on it, then I have to send it to you, and then somebody else may be working on it at the same time, and it's just a hot mess. So one of the biggest pros of using Google Slides is that, or Google Presentations, I guess it's called Slides now, is the collaborative nature. It is part of your Google Apps for Education, so as a College of Charleston Gmail user, you already have access to it. Everyone in the class does, so no accounts are needed. It is super easy to use. If you know how to use PowerPoint, then you'll be golden here. And it looks the same everywhere, and that's what I love the most about it. So if I'm at home and I'm on my Mac and I'm building this beautiful PowerPoint presentation, and I've got all of these cool fonts loaded on my computer, and I choose to use those fonts because I think it really adds something to my presentation. When I take that presentation in and put it on the teacher station in the classroom, that teacher station's not going to have my specialty fonts. Many times, although it's gotten better over the years, many times the Windows PowerPoint will substitute bullets even. So just your PowerPoint, you can't guarantee it looks the same all the time. Videos are always a struggle. So by using this, it looks the same everywhere. It's fully online, so we can all work out on it together. And again, everybody already has an account. All right, the cons, there's none. I really don't see any cons to using it over PowerPoint. There's only positive things, I think. So I would really highly encourage you to use Google Slides / Google Presentations, whichever you prefer to call it, to do this presentation. All right, so given that, I'd like to take a minute to show you a few tricks in Google. All right, here I am in Google Drive. Actually, I'm really spread out here, so let me smish this back up for you so you can see everything. And to go to make a Google presentation, you're going to go to New. I'm sorry, I'm not making eye contact with you right now, but I've got to look at my screen. So you're going to go to New and Google Slides right here at the bottom. And there's all sorts of templates and things out there, but we're just going to look at the blank presentation. Okay, so here it is. I apologize, my computer is very slow today. All right, so you have your basic look and feel like you do in PowerPoint. I can give it a title up here at the top. Again, I have my slides will show up over here. I add new slides here by clicking on the plus or choosing the drop down arrow to pick whatever it is I want, whatever type of slide I want. Under Insert, you'll see I can insert images, text box, videos, shapes, and under Shapes, there's tons of different shapes. Tables, charts, diagrams, even some word art, lines. Animation is where I'm going to add the fly-ins or specific text that come in at different times, like you would in PowerPoint. All of these things are done here in the Insert menu. Format is exactly what you would think it is. It all shows up here, but I can also come up here to Format and change my bullets, my font, etc. So I'm just going to show you a few tips and tricks in here that you may not know about that might make your presentation a little bit better or a little more engaging, I guess. So to add a slide, you click like you normally would, and I'm going to say my presentation. It's not spelled right, but you get the gist. So my next slide, I want to add an image. Let me close this window over here. And so I'm going to come up here to Image and click on that. And you'll see that I can upload one from my computer, but my favorite part is this Search from Web right here. So I'm going to click Search from Web, and I'm going to say YMCA. And these are all copyright-free images. So you can use these in any way that you want. This might not, some of these are just mostly buildings, so this might not have been the best thing for me to search on, but you get the gist. And so when I decided that I want one, I just click on it and click Insert down here at the bottom, and it's going to put that in for me. Now once I have it in here and I click on it, you'll notice that I have some new things up here. So I can reset the image back to the way it was. I can replace the image. If I click on crop, this is my favorite, so I can crop this image by grabbing these little black items here, the black lines. But I can also go to the drop down and I can crop it as a circle. So now I can choose to make it a little more circular. And then I just click the crop icon again, and now I have a circular image. So this right here gives you the ability to do your images in all kinds of shapes. That again is going to add some visual interest, way more than just the basic square pictures that you're going to get off the web. Sorry. Then what I can do is, if I right click on this, I can choose Format Options for this image. I can recolor it, so I can make it kind of a weird sepia tone if I want. I can make it a little more transparent. Let's say I wanted to use this as a background, so I could make it transparent and right over top of it. I can give it a drop shadow. So let's make it a little bit bigger. There's my shadow. Okay, that's the drop shadow. Or I can do a reflection, and it puts the reflection down here at the bottom. Again, all things that can just add a little more visual interest to the presentation if you are using images. All right, and again, I got there. Normally it's up here, which is what threw me just a little bit, but I can get to it by just right-clicking and choosing Format Options. All right, So that's images. Again, when I insert an image, I can go from the web and I can search for just about anything I want, and it'll all be copyright-free images. All right, let's take a look at a new slide. So I'm going to click the plus, and this time we're going to insert video. Now, because this is a Google product and Google does own YouTube, you can also easily embed any videos from YouTube. So here's Surprised Kitty. If you want to preview it first, just click the play, but I'm going to select it and click select, and it'll drop it right in. Now this is another feature that I really, really love. So here I have video options, and if I click on that, then it's going to open my video options panel on the side. Now, let's say I found a great video on YouTube, and it was a 5-minute video, but I only wanted to show 30 seconds of a clip. I can do that by typing in the start time here and the end time here. So while this is a very short video, I don't have to start it at the beginning. I can say start it at 10 seconds in, and then when I play it, it's not going to start at the very beginning. If that's not the cutest kitten, I don't know what is. So instead of the full 17 seconds, it only played 7 seconds. So this is how you can take a video that may not be perfect for your presentation and not have to crop it or download it or anything like that. All you're doing is setting your start and end parameters to show exactly what it is you want that makes the most sense for your presentation. I can also set it to autoplay as soon as the slide comes up, so I don't have to click play. And I can mute the audio. In this case, I might want to because the audio is a little annoying, but maybe I want you to just see what's on the video and then I'm going to talk you through it. So if that's the case, you can mute the audio. And that's what these settings are about. So again, you can pull videos straight from YouTube into this and use them in your presentation. All right. The last thing I wanted to show you is the sort of the themes and presentations themselves. So if I click on this slide, you'll see up here at the top, I can change my background to a color or to an image. I can change my layout of any of my slides. I can change it to this type of a slide. I can change my theme, and while it doesn't have a ton of themes, I'm not going to lie there, sometimes I do think that themes can overshadow the presentation. So again, keep it clean, keep it simple would be my advice. But once you get a theme, it'll apply it to the whole show. And then you can have transitions. If you would, and those are between slides. So transitions are like how I get from slide to slide. If I want animation, which is how I choose what will fly in when, then I just select any box on one of my slides and I can right click on it and choose animate. And now I can choose that this will fade in when I click. And so if I hit play, it shows up here as a blank slide until I click. So those are pretty much the things that I wanted to cover today on in this little presentation for you. Again, just my advice is to know your subject matter so that you can just talk off the cuff and show your personality, because these folks are here to hear you present about what you know and what you've learned and your experience. And don't discount that. Make it interesting. If you're interested, your subject matter or your audience will be interested. And so good luck with your presentations and have a great day.